All right, so here we are, and today we are experimenting with a microphone on some earbuds, and we'll see how that sounds. We will also need a belt as well as some blocks. So now I'm standing around here behind the computer, wondering if in fact you can still hear me clearly or more clearly or about the same. All right, what else do I need to do over here? Anyway, and it's entirely possible they're just going to fall out or something weird will happen, and there will be. Okay. So making our way back to our mat, and we've got some blocks. We've got a belt or strap. And coming onto our mat, sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And using those arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Maybe a little shifting and squinging. And then slowly releasing with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, letting go of the rest of the day. Just be here now in your body with your breath. And then let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up, taking up lots of space. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down. Doing that twice more. And then coming forward and over, breathing into the back of the body. And we'll walk the hands over to the right diagonal, long reach along the left side. And then left hand on the right knee, twisting open, turning yourself inside out. And a big swoop back to the center. Coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And then changing the cross of the legs. Coming forward. And then we will walk the hands over to the left diagonal, reaching out long, big stretch along the right side. And then right hand on the left knee, twisting open. And a big swoop around back to the center. And coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae, arriving up on top of the sitting bone. Inhale and exhale. And then having your belt handy as we make our way down to the floor. You can roll down, making a little core event out of it. And then we land on the floor, sliding the legs out to straight. And we'll bend that right leg in, pulling the thigh into the chest, reaching long through the left heel, long up through the top of the head. And then reaching a little longer through the left leg, lifting it a couple inches off the floor. And then reaching that left leg back down to the floor, pressing against the floor. And we'll bend our left leg, and then we will extend our right, getting the belt, extending the right leg up. Left foot down into the floor, and then breathing up through the back of the right leg and out the heel. And we'll flex the left foot, sliding that left leg back out to straight, reaching long between both heels. And belt into the right hand, bringing that leg out to the diagonal side. Doing your best to keep that left hip and left side anchored down. Every breath and action pouring out through the legs, out through the top of the head. And then coming up to the center, passing the belt off to the left hand, right arm out to the side from the shoulder. We take the right leg across, rolling all the way onto your left side. If you can feel a reach down through that left heel, And reaching out through the right, long line from the right foot to the right hand. And bringing that right leg back up. And reaching the right leg down. And getting recentered, standing on your two legs on the opposite wall. And then we'll bend the left leg in, pulling that thigh into the chest, reaching long through the right heel. And then reaching long through that right heel to lift the right leg a few inches off the floor. And reaching that right leg long and back into the floor, giving a little press down. And then we'll bend the right leg, belt around the left foot, extending the left leg up. And then breathing up through the back of that left leg, getting that hamstring a chance to extend the back of the knee to open without so much counter pull from our right leg yet. And flexing the right leg, foot, stretching that right leg out, pressing out through the heels, pressing out through both heels. Feeling active through your whole body, not just that more interesting left leg, long through the top of the head, reaching long through both legs. And then belt into the left hand, bringing that left leg out to the diagonal side, reaching long through the right leg. We'll counter pull from that right hip, trying to stay anchored down. And then bringing that left leg back up to the center, belt into the right hand, bringing the left leg across, reaching out to the side through the left arm. If you can find a reach down through the right leg as well. And then long line from the left foot out the left fingertip. And coming back up to the center. And then we will bring that left leg down, reaching long through both legs, stretch the arms overhead. You can use the interlocked fingers here or not. And then let's make our way back up to sitting. Coming forward over those legs in a forward bend for a moment. And then coming up, and we will come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, and maybe a little dog walking or whatever else you want to do. And then finishing up with that, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Reaching long through both legs at the same time. And then let's come forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. And then setting the knees down, long pull back in child's pose. And sliding forward onto our stomach into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, reaching back through the toes. We'll press down at the tailbone toward the floor. And then let's lift the elbows off, coming into a spacious cobra, readjusting the hands as needed to give yourself space. And coming down, and then we will heel ourselves back up to downward facing dog, maybe a couple cat and cow ripples along the way. And then going through the vinyasa, any version you want to do, including just holding downward facing dog. Forward to the plank. Actually, I think I'm going to ask the Namaskar, knees, chest, chin, if you want to come along with me. And then we'll all be back in downward facing dog. Looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing those arms down. So let's see, get in your blocks. Oh, we should have 2 blocks of the same size. If you have 2 blocks of the same size. Now that I think of it. All right, I'm putting those blocks or block up here near the front of the mat in case you want it. And here we are, standing into Dasana. Inhale and exhale, Namaste, steadiness. And then a big circle with the shoulders to interlock the fingers behind. Lengthening up the chest to lift the chin. And coming forward and over, pressing out through the hands. And keeping the hands interlocked, bending the knees, coming into the skier, the chair pose with a concave back. And then hinging over. And releasing the hands. We'll step back with the right leg. So we're doing the pattern where we step back with the right leg, the right side, the right leg leading. We're in our left lunge. Bringing that right knee down, coming up in Anjayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Bringing those arms down and around to Namaste in the center. And into the floor, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, any version, downward facing dog. And we'll lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. And let's dog at the high fire hydrant, bending the right knee. And through to the lunge. And we'll bring that left knee down, Anjayasana. And bringing those arms around and down to Namaste in front. And into the floor, stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms down long through the top of the head. Taking a circle with the shoulders to interlock the fingers. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over. Keeping the hands interlocked, bending the knees, concave back. And tilting over. Releasing the hands. And we'll step back with the left leg. Bringing that left knee down, Anjayasana. And this time we'll take a twist to the right, twisting to the right, wide arms, hooking that left arm over the right outer leg, pull a little wider, bringing the hands to Namaste. And Namaste in the center. And continuing back, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And lifting the left leg up, reaching long through the heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Bringing that right knee down, coming up Anjayasana on the left. And twisting to the left. Wide arms, hooking the right arm over, pull a little wider. And around to Namaste. And Namaste in the center. Stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. And coming up to standing big front body yawn. And pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. We'll come all the way around to Namaste in front. And this time we'll just swoop over. Big lift up with the arms. And diving over. Concave back. So we're still doing the stepping back pattern now. And stepping back with the right leg. And we'll bring that right knee down. Anjayasana. Inhale and exhale, big circle of breath. And bringing those arms around to Namaste in front. And now a little differently, we're going to straighten up the right leg and straighten up the left leg. And let that right heel, back leg turn down. So we're in Parsvottanasana. Maybe getting your blocks here to make your arms longer. If you have only one block, using it under the right hand and the left hand can go on the ankle or shin. And take a moment, reaching long through the top of the head, lots of space. And then pouring over that left leg as much as possible. And then we will lunge forward to continue on our way, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, and downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge. And bringing that left knee down, Anjayasana. And a big reach around to Namaste in front. And then bringing the block or blocks in, straightening up the left leg, straightening up the right, adjusting that left heel so it's grounded down. If you have one block, it's now under the left hand with the right hand on the ankle or shin of the right leg. And lengthening out for a moment, making lots of space. And then pouring over that right leg as much as you can here in Parsvottanasana, the extended sides pose. And then lunging forward to step forward into the concave, back halfway up, folding over. And then from down here, we're going to take our arms up and interlock the fingers. So shoulders a little roll out as best you can here in our interlocked finger forward bend. And then bend the knees, coming into that skier version of the chair pose. And then from here, we'll just spring up, unfolding all those joints, lift the chest to lift the chin, relax the arms, letting them pour down. And coming up long to the top of the head, release the hands. Inhale and exhale, bringing the hands to Namaste in the center. Namaste, steadiness. And then here we go, leading with the left leg with a couple more things added in. Big lift up in the front body, yawn. And diving over. Straight leg concave back, folding over. And then we'll step back with the left leg. And here we are in our right lunge again, bringing that left knee down, Enjoyasana. And around to Namaste in front. And straightening up that right leg again into Parsvottanasana, maybe with a block or block. Long and flat, pouring over. And then extending long and flat once more, and we will do the rotated triangle, Parvrita Trikonasana, twisting to the right. Kind of like when we had our right leg in the belt and we took it across the body on the floor, except now we've made the shape by twisting the upper body instead of twisting the lower body. And then a big reach back and around with the right arm, and we'll bend the right knee to come up into the warrior number one. And one more deep breath here. And we'll do the arms down and around into Namaste in the center. And into the floor. Continuing on our way back, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And we'll lift our left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge. So we should be on our left lunge now. Bringing that right knee down, Enjoyasana. And around to Namaste in front. And then straightening up the legs into Parsvottanasana. A little lengthen out, pouring over for a few breaths. And then lengthening out again, long and flat. And we'll twist to the left. Parvrita Trikonasana, the rotated triangle. So this is kind of similar to when we had the left leg in the belt, pulling it across with the twist. If you can find that similarity, and yet it's extremely different at the same time. And then we'll reach back with that left arm, bending the left leg to come into the warrior number one. Breathing here. And a couple more breaths. And a big reach around to Namaste in front. And into the floor, stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. And then let's reach those arms up behind us, finding the interlocked fingers, pressing out through the hands. Bending the knees into the concave back. Or I mean the skier, actually. Hopefully we're doing this. And then coming all the way up to standing, lifting up with that upper chest, pouring down through the arms, pouring down through the sitting bones. And coming up, release the hands, coming to Namaste in the center, Samastiti steadiness. And then making our way over, big lift up. And diving over. Concave back with the straight legs. And folding over. And we'll bend the knees and sit down on the floor into Baddha Konasana. Feet together, knees out to the side. Holding on to the ankles or shins, sitting up really tall. And then coming forward and over. And coming up, bringing those legs in. Let's come back up to downward face. Back up to the forward bend. And then we will make our way back to downward facing dog through the vinyasa or not. And let's lift our right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. So if you're kind of feeling up for water falling to the wild thing, you could do that, or just go right to the lunge, and we're headed to the warrior number 2. So those who are water falling to the wild thing, here we go over. And coming back up, see if you can lift that right leg back up. And then through to the lunge, and we'll all be meeting up in the warrior number 2. The lateral lunge, making sure that right knee tracks over the foot, reaching wide and flat. And then dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up, reaching the right sitting bone down a little more, reaching to the left with the right arm, reaching to the right with that right inner thigh. And then into the triangle Trikonasana. And here we are with our leg out to the diagonal side in the belt, as it were. Trying to anchor that left hip bone down, reaching out through that right leg into the floor. And you can stay here, or taking this up to Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. If you're in the half moon, making your way back down, gently setting that left foot down, and we'll all go to the warrior 2. Pulling back with the left arm, pulling through the right inner knee. And then a big lift up and over with the left arm, coming to the lunge, stepping back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And then we'll do that all around on the other side. And here we are. Let's lift our left leg up. Bending the left knee, dog at the high fire hydrant. And then water falling to the wild thing or not. And if you've waterfalled, coming back, lifting the right leg, left leg up through to the lunge, warrior number 2. Checking that left knee is tracking over the foot, reaching wide and flat. And dancing warrior, reaching up, reaching down with the sitting bone, reaching back to the right, reaching forward to the left through the inner thigh. And into the triangle trikonasana. Like when we had our leg in the belt out to the side, is that right outer hip trying to press down, even as we press the left hip a little forward, reaching long through that left leg. And staying here, or coming up to Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. And if you're up here in the half moon, floating that right leg down, and then we'll all go to the warrior number 2, reaching from the left inner thigh out the right fingertips. And a big lift up with that right arm, windmilling down to the floor, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Finding the best downward facing dog of this moment. And coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And then coming up, unfurling that spine. And let's extend those legs straight out in front in Dandasana. So you could use your belt here. We're going to do the Janu Shirasasanas. So you could have the belt there to put around your left leg if you wanted. As we take our right leg back, bending the right leg, reaching long from the right knee out the left foot. So instead of thinking of it in our half dragonfly orientation to the side, we're thinking of it in actually the more traditional yoga version, where our left leg, straight leg, is the front. All right, and then if you want, lassoing that foot with the belt, as we take a little twisting toward the left, And we'll reach mostly with the right hand down the outside of the left leg for a couple breaths. And then bringing the left hand to meet the right, coming forward over that left leg. And then coming up, and we will switch legs, extending the right leg out, bending the left, and reaching long through the heel, through the knee. Noticing over here at the diagonal, we have our half dragonfly spatial orientation, but we're now using right leg, straight leg is the front orientation. And I don't know how different you find thinking of it in two different spatial ways, but it feels actually fairly different to me to think of it as the right leg front instead of the other way. Anyway, being that as it may, you can use the belt around the right foot there. And let's start out with the left arm reaching. And bringing the right hand to meet the left, coming forward over the right leg. And then coming up, retrieving that left leg, both legs in front. And we will make our way down to the floor and into Shavasana. Backs of the hands on the floor, palms to the ceiling. Letting go of all effort. Inhaling and exhaling, sinking into the earth. With every breath, sinking in a little bit more, letting go of resistance. We're not used to just letting our weight rest into the floor and into the earth. And our body and mind can be a little bit reluctant to give up that control and that agency that our little bit of resistance and pulling up and keeping ourselves togetherness gives us. But with every breath, gently releasing that a little. We don't always get to 100% release, but maybe we get a little bit further than we were before. And then breathing back into your body, into the room, moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. Bending the knees. Making your way gently up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with that long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.